welcome our guest speaker for today, Dr. Abhilash Nayak from IGNOU Regional Center, Patna. And I also welcome other faculty members from IGNOU who have joined and our colleagues from regional centers who have joined us for today's session. Very good morning to all of you. Today's session is on design thinking and innovation. And before starting the session, let me introduce the speaker for today, Dr. Abhilash Nayak. He is the Regional Director of IGNOU Regional Center, Patna. And prior to this assignment, he has also worked as the Regional Director of IGNOU at regional centers of Koraput, Bhubaneswar, and also at Regional Evaluation Center, Bhubaneswar. His main areas of interest include Indian writing in English, English language teaching, and open and distance learning. He has a number of publications to his credit, and at present he is working. He is very enterprisingly engaged in taking innovation related initiatives in IGNOU at his center also and with NCID also. So I welcome you, sir, to today's session. And he'll be talking about design thinking. And design thinking, as you all know, is a solution-based approach to solving problems, and which is also known as out-of-the-box thinking, and has gained prominence in today's world when designers are trying to develop new ways of thinking and new problem-solving methods. The core being in the interest and ability to ask significant questions and to challenge the assumptions. So let us hear more about design thinking from Dr. Abhilash Nayak, sir. But before our guest speaker speaks, so let me invite Dr. Sharma to welcome today's speaker and give a brief overview about the session. So then we can have the talk by the expert for today. Dr. Sharma, please.
Thank you, Dr. Sujata. And good morning to all the dignitaries present here and our key resource person, Dr. Abhilash Nayak ji, and all the faculty members and students watching us through Facebook Live right now. Good morning to you. I welcome you all for this 23rd session of the Facebook Live. As you know, it has become a regular feature of the National Center for Innovation and Distance Education. We are trying to ignite you. We are trying to make you aware of the concepts, basic aspects of the innovation, startup and entrepreneurship and related things. In that series, today's 23rd session is very important because whenever we think of any innovation, innovative product, in that context, this special design concept is very important. Whether you are thinking of designing a product very innovatively, creatively, differently, making it unique for the society to people, their design is very important, as well as the process, the entire process through which you want to develop that product or even the business. In that context also, the design thinking is very important to understand. Because when you are doing something without making a proper planning, without making this kind of thinking, then I think may not be as useful or as fruitful as it could be otherwise. But if you are going very systematic in an organized way, step by step, at first step, what should be there, the next, what should be, at what stage the next step is required to be taken. These all aspects are very important to be a very successful innovator and entrepreneur. So in that context, I hope today's session, design thinking and that too correlating with the innovation is very important. And we have always been promoting the culture of innovation, culture of entrepreneurship and startup among our students and the faculty. And we are happy that now a number of our faculty members, they are coming forward, they are coming up with their new innovative ideas. And we knew that they were already good innovators. They were doing very good thing. But now the changes which I am just perceiving is that they have started linking it to the innovation entrepreneurship, because whatever knowledge and experience they had, they are now linking it and trying to make our students a good entrepreneur or successful startups. And Dr. Abhilash Nayak is now a certified innovation ambassador also. by the Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell, and we have now many. Dr. Radhar is also one of them, and Dr. Sujata is there, and many of our faculty members are now coming forward to become a certified innovation ambassador. And in that context, again, I welcome Dr. Abhilash Naik ji, and I hope all our students, all our faculty members will be highly benefited by your deliberations today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma. So, Dr. Abhilash Naik, please. We are all waiting to listen to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Just give me a minute. Let me start presenting my PowerPoint. Just a minute.
Yes, sir.
Are you able to see my screen?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet. Okay, just a minute. Give me a minute.
Should I share?
Just give me half a minute. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. But I am not able to I think it's taking time.
Yes, it is taking some time. The slides are not visible.
Dr. Sharma, I think you can start. I don't know why it is not happening.
Okay, you stop presenting.
All right, I will. Is it happening now? Okay, you are presenting. Sorry.
Is it now visible?
No.
Sir, you have shared your screen. You need to click on PPT, then we can see that. Your screen is visible for us. You are sharing the entire screen mode. So now whatever file you open, we can see it.
Yes, I'm doing that. Actually, I had made something different.
Shall I try again? Okay, you are doing it.
Is it now visible?
Right.
Yes, Dr. Sharma, it is visible now.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sharma, for inviting me.
Let me
Okay.
mute myself first. So,
Okay, hi. It's right, fine. First of all, I thank NCID, Dr. Sharma and his team for inviting me for this Facebook Live session. And I am also thankful to the University Authorities, Honorable Vice Chancellor, NCID, for having given me the opportunity to orient myself in innovation and entrepreneurship through 2 phases of training from the MIC. This is a nice topic, but as Dr. Sujata has already introduced to you, all of you, I am a student of literature and linguistics. So I am trying my best to make the presentation comprehensible and useful to you. Let me try. Thank you very much. Dr. Sharma, please, next slide. I am planning to make the presentation this way. First of all, we shall discuss what is design. Then we will discuss different aspects of design. Then what is design thinking, and then we will link design thinking with innovation. That's how I have planned. Whenever we talk about design, we generally talk about a plan or a drawing. It is produced to show the look, function, or working of a building, garment, or object or unit before it is made operational. This is the basic concept of design. Once the designs are finalized, what we do, then we go for the prototypes to help the users know how it may look like. Because design is something there in our mind, but the prototype tells the users how the product, how the garment, how the unit is going to look like. For example, in case of construction work, we see sometimes the real prototypes are given. We are taken to the flats which are already there, because the sellers, the real estate people, they want us to make a feel of the product. Because when we visit the prototype, we come to know what are the different facilities which are available there inside that house. So design, on the whole, we can say that it is a way of transforming the leading companies and by creating value. Next, please. Now let us discuss the 4 important aspects of design. Interaction design, that means the users are, first of all, this is the main part of design thinking. How the users are made to interact with the product. That means the users are given the product and they interact with the product, different parts of the product, like the different contexts where the product can be used, what are the different buttons used for that, and on the basis of their reactions or feedback, we make changes in the design. That is the interaction part. Then the information architecture, that is the model or the concept of various data elements. That means what are the information related to that product, like what are the tasks involved in the use of the product by the people. So it gives the guidance and the information to the people regarding the proper use of the product. That is the information architecture. Then we have visual design. This is what we all people understand when somebody speaks about design. That means when somebody says design, this is the thing that comes to our mind. For example, we can take the example of phone. The phone that we are using, that has gone through a lot of evolution over the years. We have been witnessing the change in the design of the phone over the years. It has been developed, it has evolved on the basis of the feedback, the reactions, the suggestions given by people through their use over the years. And the last part is very important. Whenever a product is designed, unless the product is designed in the real situations, and unless the product is tested in the real situations, it could be the near final software, it could be the prototype, and the consumer base. For example, if we are targeting the rural people for a particular product, we must make a usability test by taking the rural population into account, and only when we go for the usability testing, we are able to know what kind of reactions or the suggestions that they may give. Then we go for the modifications before we launch the product in the market. Next, please. This is a very beautiful thing that we all must understand. I have taken this from the presentation of Dr. Pankaj Parasar. He is one of our members of IIC also. I would advise and I would request all of you to watch his video. That's a wonderful video. It is about a successful startup. He has a medical kit, Sentiglow. You must know how the medical kit has been developed and how he has been successful in designing the product and how the product has been successful in the market. So when we look at this diagram, which is given over here, we see here 3 things. One is the form part of the design, one is the function part of the design, and third one is the human part. You can see that when there is a interaction between the form and the human, it is communication design. That means when we were talking about in the last slide, If you remember, I was talking about the interaction design. That means when the human beings interact with the form and when the human beings communicate with the form, they give their suggestion. That means that is communication design. Then industrial design means when the form and function, when the product is launched in the market, how it is going to be produced, that is the industrial design, because it takes into account both the form and function of the product. But the design thinking is human centric. It is a testing of the product in terms of the usability by the user. That means it gives human beings the most importance, because human being, until human beings, the people, the target group are satisfied with the usability of the product, then the product cannot be successful. So design thinking is all about the human-centric approach to innovation that we shall be discussing in detail in the later slides. Next, please. Now let us see why design is important. Design is important because it's utility. When we design a product, we must understand how useful it is, whether it has any utility value or not. He has given a very beautiful example. I have also taken this portion from his slide only. For example, somebody comes out with a bike with a single wheel. That may look like very innovative, but that is not useful. It will not have any utility value, because people will not be able to purchase it. People will not purchase it because they will not find it useful for their use. Peculiarity. That means there are n number of products of that category in the market. You must design a product which has some peculiarity, which has some difference from the product which are there in the market. Distinguishing feature. There could be a possibility like this, that there are products with similar features, but your product should have some distinguishing feature which makes it different. And the next one is very, very important. I was really pleased to see the kind of explanation that he gives against this point. Ergonomics. For example, let us take the example of the keyboard. In most of the offices, you will find the keyboard which is in a rectangular shape. That means it's like this. What happens when somebody continuously types? One has to put the hands like this. So there is a pressure on this part, on the wrist part of the hand all the time. So somebody thought that why not design a different keyboard, a split keyboard, where a person can type the things without putting the hands like this. So that is ergonomics. That means how efficiently one can work in the work environment, how efficiently one can handle the product in the work environment. That is ergonomics. Then safety, that is also equally important. For example, he has given a very beautiful example. In the multi-storied buildings, you will see people putting the pots on their window sills and sometimes on the parapets, but it is very much possible that the pot may fall down. So somebody came out with a very interesting idea. He came out with a split pot which could be put on the bars, iron bars, where there is no chance of the pot falling down. Okay, then unique selling proposition, that we all people who are working in the field of innovation, that we know it. That means USP. Your product should be having a USP. Part of marketing strategy. That means generally people think that marketing means only selling the product and getting the profit. That's not. Marketing means understanding the requirement of the users, consumers. Unless you understand the human needs, unless you are empathetic, we'll be talking about that in the later slide. Unless you are empathetic to the needs of the people, you will not be able to understand what problems they are facing, and you will not be able to provide a solution which will solve their problem. And the last one, it aligns with the company motto. Here also he has given a very beautiful example. He has given the example of Ferrari, that car which has wings. You must have seen the Ferrari car. I didn't put all those pictures here because that will take a lot of time and the number of slides will increase. You can have a look at his presentation. It is there only. It has wings because the Ferrari company believes in speed. The wings tell people that Ferrari has the capacity to run faster. So the company's motto to provide a vehicle with maximum speed is represented by the design of the car. Next, please. You can see the designs here. These are some of the very unique designs that I found very suitable. He has also given those examples in his presentation only. First one, all of us know Apple is known for its design only. Apple laptops, Apple mobiles, all these things, their functionality definitely better. But the design is the USP for Apple. Many of you will definitely agree to that. And this headphone, look at this, so colorful. We have been using so many headphones. Some are gray in color, some are black in color. But look at this, it is so beautifully designed. It looks very attractive. And look at this pair of shoes. It is also very attractive. And the last one, we can see that it is a Lamborghini Centenario. It's a car which is also known for its beautiful design only. So if your product has a design which is attractive, which can appeal to the people, it is definitely going to have a good market share. Next, please. Now let us come to the main topic. What is design thinking? Design thinking is a iterative problem solving process. What is this iterative problem solving? That means the problem doesn't end forever. If we design a product, what may happen, people may use the product and they come with a different new suggestion and you may have to redesign the product. So that's why it is a iterative problem solving. That means we must be ready to find out new solutions for the problems faced by people. Design thinking believes in that. It offers a structured framework for understanding complexity and pursuing innovation. Tim Brown, CEO of IDEO, the design company that popularized the term design thinking, says, design thinking can be described as a discipline that uses the designer's sensibility and methods to watch people's needs with what is technologically feasible and what a viable business strategy can convert into customer value and market opportunity. I have highlighted two words there, feasible and viable. These two things are very, very important. And equally, one more thing, I have already talked about that, that is matching to the needs of people. The methods and the sensibility of the designer should match the needs of the people. If what you design, if what you innovate doesn't match the real needs of the people, then your business is not going to survive. And it has to be technologically feasible. Here, let us take the example of one product. For example, a mouse. If a mouse is made of plastic materials, if it is made of glass, and if it falls down, it may break and it may also injure us. So it has to be, if you design a prototype, if you make the prototype with a glass under the mouse, definitely nobody will appreciate it. It is not technologically feasible. Similarly, it has to be a viable business strategy. Only design will not work, as I told you while discussing utility. If the product has only a beautiful design, it doesn't work. It has to have a viable business strategy. That means it has to be commercially viable also. Then only it can be converted into a market opportunity. It requires that a product,
regional centers,
Vijay Kumar sir,
NCR.
It requires that a product, besides being good looking, should also indicate how it is useful in
I got my own course. I developed
Vijay Kumar sir.
That course have నేను ఇంకా డిసైడ్ కాలేదు ఎందుకంటే నాకు ఇది ఎప్పటి వరకు
रीडिंग प्रॉब्लम एक है 14 तो सारी है कहां पे
Thank you.
Besides version 2 में है मैडम
Sujata madam, you can mute the audience, you know. You are the host.
That is what, in fact, I'm telling you, night low, by the time I come, it's 8:39. We are going officially.
final system
we are trying to present this new program, what is this new course.
final कौन सी
time
folder में अलग से करके रखो यहाँ पे final version नाम लो यहाँ में फोल्डर बना लो,
చెప్తాను
फाइनल
సార్
कर
మీకు
सारी चीजें
ఎందుకంటే
उसमें
ఈ
डालो।
వీక్ కూడా ఉన్నది. అండ్ వన్ మోర్ థింగ్,
जो आपने जहाँ
Sir, Vijay Kumar sir.
I was
We,
thinking that also.
I
I have
think he is not
vaccination
listening.
తీసుకోలేదు ఇంకా.
Praveen ji, kindly mute him.
And traveling
All
is
those who are
big
speaking.
question.
फाइनल वर्जन ये है।
అదొకటి
बंद कर दीजिए इनको, विजय कुमार जी को।
అదే ఆలోచన. అందుకే నేను ఇన్ఫాక్ట్ మీరు 2-3 సార్లు ఫోన్ చేశారు, మెసేజ్లు చూస్తున్నా కానీ ఎక్కడ ఎవరో ఉంటారు, వి కాంట్ టాక్. ఒక్కోసారి నెట్వర్క్ కనెక్టివిటీ ఉండదు.
Dr. Sujata, you can mute him.
జస్ట్ టుడే ఐ కేమ్ టు ఆఫీస్.
Previous one, please. This one. Shall I continue, Dr. Sharma? I think we can. So as I have been telling, the product, if it only looks good, it doesn't solve the purpose. It should also indicate how it can solve the problems of people. It minimizes the uncertainty and risk of innovation by engaging customers or users through a series of prototypes to learn, test, and refine concept. That's what I have been telling time and again from the beginning. That means the users are involved, the customers, the consumers are involved right from the stage of the prototype to the testing and finally the refining of the concepts. Next, please. Design thinkers, they rely on customer insights that are gained from the real world experiments, not just historical data or market research. That is very, very important. Earlier, what happened when a product was designed, a market analysis was done, a market survey was done, and according to the need of the people, a new product was launched. But here, the human intervention, the customer insights, they are given much importance. It is a human-centered approach to problem solving. It is a process built from people. This is very, very important. It is a process built from people, inspiration gained by looking and listening to them. It's a journey of learning, experimentation, and discovery. It works because it is a collaborative, co-creative process grounded in engagement, dialogue, and learning. It involves the application of design methods to a broad range of innovation challenges. That means we have to interact with the people time and again until we reach a final solution. A design mindset is not problem focused. It is solution focused and action oriented. It involves both analysis and imagination. Only analysis of market data will not do. We must also imagine the problems, the real problems that people could be facing, and only after taking the input from the people, we can finalize the prototype. According to Bruce Mau, the founder of the Massive Change Network, it's not about the world of design, but the design of the world. World means here the world outside, the people for whom the product has been designed. Design thinking involves human-centered innovation. Human-centered innovation begins with developing an understanding of the customers or users' unmet or unarticulated needs. Unmet or unarticulated needs. That means people who had this problem earlier, but they could not bring it out to the business people because they could not share it with the business people. So this kind of innovation should focus upon the people's needs. Three characteristics which characterize design thinking are collaboration, multidisciplinary, and twofold type of thinking, convergent and divergent. We will be talking about that later on. Next, please. Dr. Sharma, next slide, please. Why design thinking? Design thinking is the best tool for sense making, meaning making, simplifying processes, and improving customer experience. This is very, very important. It provides the leaders with a framework for addressing complex human-centered challenges and makes the best possible decisions. When done well, human-centered designs enhances the user experience at every touch point. Every touch point means at every point when there is an interaction, when there is a possibility of interaction or communication with the customers, and fuels the creation of products and services that deeply resonate with the customer. That means resonate with the needs of the customers. Unless the daily needs, unless the real needs of the customers are taken into account, the design of a product cannot be successful. Design is empathic and thus drives a more thoughtful human approach to business. The physical props and highly formatted tools of design thinking deliver a sense of security, helping would-be innovators move more assuredly through the discovery of customer needs, idea generation, and idea testing. If we have taken the needs of the people into consideration, and if we have changed the prototype on the basis of the suggestions and reactions of the people during the testing stage, then definitely we have a assured future for the product. Next, please. Design thinking works best when we need to make human sense of things, approaching challenges in ways that best suit human needs regardless of the scale of authority of the challenge. It is also a mindset that can be applied in almost any scenario where innovation or thinking differently is required. Great design has that wow factor that makes products more desirable and services more appealing to the users. That means this wow factor, that means how my product, how the service that I have planned is going to benefit the people. If people, after they get the service of this kind, they are very excited about it, then definitely our design thinking has gone into the right direction. Designing is more than creating products and services. It can be applied to systems, procedures, protocols, and customer experience. That means it is applicable to both product and process. We can go next. These are the 5 stages through which design thinking proceeds: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. We have touched upon them, but I will be discussing them one by one. Next, please. In the first stage, that is empathize, research your users' needs. Empathizing relates to the direct interaction with the users. We should gain an empathetic understanding of the problem we are trying to solve, typically through user research. Empathy allows us to set aside our own assumptions about the world and gain real insight into users and their needs. Sometimes it so happens, being distantly located, we feel that we assume that it could be a solution to the people, but unless we go to the real field and know the real problem and interact with people, get their feedback, we cannot get the right solution. Next, define. State your users' needs and problems. That is statement of the problem. This is called statement of the problem because this is the next stage to empathize. Next, please. Now, then ideate. Challenge assumptions and create ideas. That means if you have an assumption regarding some solution, then you must challenge that assumption and you must brainstorm and generate new ideas and solutions, because you have already gone through 2 stages. That is the first one, that is the empathy stage, then the definition stage that you have already crossed. Now you should be able to think out of the box and generate ideas which may go against your assumptions, but they provide real solution to the people. Then the next stage is very important, that is start to create solution. That means you design a product, a prototype of the product where you can visualize how a problem can be solved. And finally, that is the testing stage, that you try your solutions out, you get the feedback from the people so that you are able to refine the product, refine the services that you are planning to launch in the market. The tools of design thinking can also be used to help them adopt a new perspective on design tasks to visualize the system's complexity. Next, please. Now, let us look at these 3 things: viability, desirability, and feasibility. When we are designing a product, these 3 things should be ensured. It should be, as I have already told you, viable. That means it should be financially viable, commercially viable. It should be desirable. That means if you design a product and doesn't have utility value, people don't desire it, people don't want to use it, then the product has no value. And last one, the feasibility. If you design a prototype which is not technologically feasible, I have already given you example of that, then the product is not going to be successful. So these features, these factors have to be taken into account. Next, please. Now, what are the methods used in the design thinking? Personas. Persona method can help to identify the user's needs and desires. It is a user representation intending to simplify communication project decision making by selecting project routes that suit the real propositions. Stakeholder map, that means who are the people going to be involved in this kind of product. Then customer journey map. This is very, very important because it describes a collection of the touch points from the beginning to the end of the service delivery as seen from the customer's point of view. That means if you are planning to launch a service, you have to think of all the touch points. That means all the points where you are or your agency or your business people are required to communicate or interact with the people, the real customers. Next, please. Service blueprint, that means how you are going to provide the service. Then you have a business model innovation. It is about exploring market opportunities, how you have to prepare a business model plan. Then rapid prototyping. If required, you have to go for rapid prototyping. It takes little less time. Generally, 3D printers are used for some of the products. So for rapid prototyping, it is a quick formation of the visual and experimental manifestation of the concepts. It can assist in determining which solutions are technologically possible. Prototypes can be created and quickly tested using the RP method. In rapid prototyping, what happens? We are able to get a quick feedback from the customers after we go for the prototype. Next, please. Then how does design thinking lead to innovation? I will take 5 to 10 minutes. I think 5 to 6 slides are left. I should be able to finish it in 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes. We should learn how to navigate the creative process from chaos to uncertainty to gaining insights, clarity, and focus. To solve the new wave of problems we face today and in future, we need a new kind of thinking, a new approach towards innovation, and that is design thinking. Design thinking is a large part of the new approach towards innovation, as it allows people, teams, and organizations to have a human-centered perspective and yet a scientific approach towards solving a problem. I have been telling since the beginning that it is a human-centric approach. It involves continuous interaction between the human, technology, and business factors in terms of desirability, feasibility, and viability. I have already discussed that. Thinking like a designer brings together what is desirable from a human point of view. I have already discussed that. With what is technologically feasible and economically viable. Innovation increases when all three perspectives are addressed. That means when we innovate, when we think of designing a new product, we must take all these three things into picture. When design principles are applied to strategy and innovation, the success rate for innovation dramatically improves. Design-led companies such as Apple, Pepsi, IBM, Nike, Procter & Gamble, and SAP have outperformed the S&P 500 over a 10-year-old period by an extraordinary 211%, according to the 2015 Design Value Index created by the Design Management Institute and Motive Strategies. You can imagine 211% increase over a period of 10 years. It is only because of the design factor which these companies have focused on. The focus of innovation has to be engineering. Previous slide, please. Because this is a very important line, I wanted people to have a look at this. The focus of innovation has shifted from being engineering driven to design driven, from product centric to customer centric, and from marketing focus to user experience focus. This is the gist of the presentation you can see. The focus of innovation has shifted from engineering driven. Earlier, we were concerned with the engineering aspect of the product, engineering driven to the design driven. Now the focus is on the design. From products, and earlier we were concerned with the product. Now we are concerned with the customer. From marketing focus to user experience focus. That means it is the user experience which is more important than the analysis of the marketing data, market data. Next, please. Design thinking draws upon logic, imagination, intuition, and systemic reasoning that we have already discussed. Design thinking offers a structured framework for, I think it is repeated. Now, in order to embrace design thinking and innovation, we need to ensure that we have the right mindsets, collaborative teams, and conducive environments. One may talk a lot, many big things, but if the team is not right, it is very difficult to be successful in such things, and the environment has to be also very, very conducive. In order to facilitate the impact of design thinking on innovations, we need to encourage people to use their skills and abilities across different areas, irrespective of their specialization. This is very, very important. Generally, what happens in big companies or in institutions, what happens, people are given an assignment on the basis of their experience. For example, if I am a student of literature, I will be asked to do things related to literature and linguistics. This is something new for me, and this should be happening with people in all the organizations. That means there should be cross-disciplinary, cross-departmental, multidisciplinary approaches to innovation, so that people would be able to enjoy them and people will be really benefited and use their creative ideas for doing new things. Next, please. To facilitate design thinking and innovation, organizations need to start thinking about truly cross-departmental, cross-disciplinary collaboration, and abandon the silo model of skills. That's what I was telling you. If only the marketing people are given the charge of marketing and they are not involved in the refinement of a prototype or any other things that are happening in the launching of a product, that may not be very useful, because there could be people with different kinds of skills in every field. The environments we inhabit and the activities we most engage in influence our thinking patterns, our understanding of things, and our ability. During an innovation process supported by design thinking, a team needs to first broaden their thinking, making it divergent along multiple inputs for their problem areas. This creative part of the innovation process usually results in a correct definition of the real problem. That means if we allow people to use their creative energies, think differently, and give their inputs, then things are definitely going to improve. And we will be able to find the solution to the real problem. Next, please. Look at this. We can think divergently, but after bringing out divergent ideas, we must also converge. Let us brainstorm over a particular topic. After brainstorming over a particular topic, a particular idea, what we get different inputs. And out of these inputs, we decide the inputs which are really useful in a particular context. And when we see that these inputs that we have decided upon are not useful, we may also again go for divergent thinking. So this process of this, it is called a double diamond process. That means divergence and convergence, they continue. Next, please. Look at this. This is the office of Google. Just imagine the kind of environment that they are giving to people. There are different kinds. You can see that this is a very picturesque environment where everybody would love to work. There are different kinds of games. Even toys are also given there. Tables and chairs. They don't have fixed places. So one loves to work in an environment like this. Next, please. So finally, we can say that this design thinking and innovation, they are very close related because it has these three qualities. It takes into account the desirability, which is based upon the needs of the human beings, technology, feasibility of the technology that we have used, and viability of the business strategies that we have planned. All these things together, they lead to real innovation. Next, please. We can have a look at this definition of Jinne M. Ledetka. I am not able to pronounce the name properly because the spelling is very complicated. He views design thinking, he is a design thinking educator. He views design thinking as a social technology which has the potential to do for innovation exactly what total quality management did for manufacturing. Let us compare both. Total quality management, what total quality management did for manufacturing. Social technology like design thinking, it has the potential to do for innovation. Unleash people's full creative energies, win their commitment, radically improve process. That is the main motto of design thinking. Unleash people's full creative energy. That means we must allow people to make maximum use of their creative energies so that we are able to get their commitment, and finally we are able to improve the process and we are successful in our innovation. Next, please. Thank you very much. Namaskar. I think I have been able to complete my presentation within the given time. Dr. Sharma, please.
Thank you so much, sir. So, are there any comments and suggestions from the participants and the dignitaries?
Can I
Any
come in,
questions?
madam?
Yes, please, please.
I'm Vijay Kumar. I'm a faculty from School of Management Studies.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Fine, thank you, Mr. Abhishek. It's a good presentation. But I have a few clarifications. The first or second slide, you talked about 4 different types of design methods. I think one is interaction design, okay, where a customer can use a product, then feel it and come out with his own opinion or feedback. Now, is that first method is at the stage of conception of your new idea generation or at the test marketing stage? Because once you conceive, then you make a prototype, then maybe a few manufactured, and you test market it to find out the pulse about the customers, their usage, their preferences, everything. So in the test marketing, a lot of changes can be done in case if the product is not viable or not as per the needs and wants or whatever of the customer. Then are you talking about the conception stage interaction with the customers or prospects or potential buyers, or at the stage of test marketing? That I just clarification I would like to know.
Thank
And
you
one
very
more
much.
thing, Mr. Abhishek, your presentation is.
Abhilash.
I'm sorry, Abhilash. Mr. Abhilash, I'm sorry. Actually, I think your presentation is very good for a corporate, not for a startup guy, maybe a group, maybe 1 or 2 people. This is more relevant or more focused towards a corporate, maybe a new corporate or maybe already existing company, but they want to diversify and offer new product or services or whatever. So in that context, it is very good. But this clarification you can make.
Do I reply now, Dr. Sharma? I wait for questions from others and I reply them later on.
Yeah, you can respond now, but before that, I would like to request Dr. TV Vijayakumar ji.
Yes, sir.
Kindly, I would like to request you to kindly take one more session on design thinking, highlighting so that it is really relevant to our students also, because
Yes,
that's
sure.
right, because the level of presentation will be different person to person, but
Yes.
what you have perceived, that should be the what should be the level, what kind of examples should be there, what kind of information should be there. That this is my request now.
Sure,
So
Dr.
Abhilash,
Sharma.
respond to this.
Thank you for
We'll
the
approach you.
invitation. Thank you for the invitation. And
Yes, yes.
definitely, I'll be taking a session
But I
very
thought
soon.
it's a good opportunity to.
Yeah.
Yes.
In fact, I was in touch with Momita, but I couldn't make it up because of a new course being developed.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yes. Now, Dr. Abhilash, you can respond.
Thank you, Dr. Vijay Kumar, for raising these 2 issues. One is, as I have not talked about it as a stage.
Yeah.
I have talked it as an aspect of design. While designing, one has to take into account, but one can easily guess that it cannot be at the ideation stage. It has to be at the prototype stage, because only after the prototype is prepared, the interaction with the customers is possible. As far my understanding is good, Dr. Pandey is also there, Umesh Pandey, who has got more knowledge. Sorry, please. Who has got more knowledge than me in this area. Number one. Number two, the second thing that you said, I have not used the corporate word even once, if I remember, throughout my presentation. And I have tried to make it useful to the learners only. I have tried to highlight the different aspects of design thinking, what things the learners, what things our innovators should keep in mind while designing a product, like the features of a product and the different stages of a product, what are the methods to be used for that. All these things I have talked about. I have tried.
Sir,
Right.
sir,
So
Dr.
just a minute.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning of my presentation, I made a disclaimer that I am a student of literature and linguistics. I am trying my best. So that's what I have tried. And now you can tell.
I just
Dr.
want,
Nayak,
with
Dr.
due regards,
Nayak, it
yeah,
was a wonderful presentation as far as I can understand, because the way we are trying to clarify the concepts to our students, because these are new to students, even for me and for many of us, they are new. And we are learning every day, we are learning something more and more, and then accordingly we are trying to reach out to our students. So don't think that way. Yes, the
sir,
concepts, whether for the academic students or for the corporate, they have to be same. Only the examples will change. That's why I have requested Dr. Vijay Kumar ji to kindly focus that exclusively on our students, so that what kind of things should be given to them. That's a nice thing.
yes.
Yes,
Avinash
sir.
ji, I just wanted to make it very clear that I don't mean that you have used corporate word. No. It is more relevant at a corporate level. I'm not talking about
That's fine.
two
Dr. Vijay
engineering
Kumar, it's
graduates,
fine.
two MBA graduates.
Ultimately, everybody wants to be that only.
Yeah.
Innovators, they become corporate giants later on.
Yes. That's
Yes,
true.
Dr. Radha, I want to say something.
Yes, sir. Sir, thank you very much. And really, it is a wonderful topic and presentation too, as our students are the prospective entrepreneurs. So the topic is very much relevant to our ISC activities, and I congratulate Dr. Abhilash Nayak for choosing such a innovative topic and a very much useful topic, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Radha, please. Dr. Pandey, I think, wants to speak something, because I consider him my mentor.
Thank you very much, Abhilashi, for a wonderful presentation. I learned a lot from this presentation, but I have a small observation, and means my voice is clear?
Very much. Please.
Okay. And that point is about the human desirability. This is the point which you have raised, means what actually the end user would like to have in your product. This is something, I think, the most challenging thing which any innovator has to look at. Otherwise, technology feasibility and business viability are less important, means they are relatively easier to work upon. But I think the human desirability is very challenging thing, because what exactly your end user would like to have in your product, and you are never sure about it, because just asking them few questions is not at all, I think, will help you. Because if you ask a question, means suppose you ask them whether you would like to have this particular feature in this, suppose a hair dryer you are making, and you say that whether you'd like to have this feature, they most likely will say yes. But actually, to find out what exactly they want and what is good for them, you need a lot of kind of a research. Why I'm saying this is because one of my friend, he has been working with Sheffield Hallam University, and he worked on a project which is concerning Madhya Pradesh, and he won the Manthan Award in his individual capacity for doing that research. And what exactly he was trying to do is he was developing a kind of a mobile phone camera, phone low-cost mobile phones for marginal farmers, so that they could send videos, messages to the experts who know about the plant diseases and all. Something of this kind. Means they were trying to connect these marginal farmers to the experts sitting in the urban locations or something of that kind. But exactly, he did kind of more than a year's time he spent for doing that kind of participatory research among those farmers, and ultimately he came out with a very wonderful product, very low cost mobile phone. They came out, and it was highlighted internationally also, and he won this Manthan Award for this. So that's why I think that the kind of work he had done on that, it was very challenging, and that's why this any corporate person also doing that kind of a participatory research which he did is certainly very difficult. I think this is just my observation, means how actually any innovator will do and try to incorporate the end user's perspective in his product is very challenging. And this is just my observation. I wanted to share this thing. And about that case study which I am talking about, one can certainly refer to the Google search. Heather Rizvi and Andy Dearden. These are the two persons and who are doing this particular work as a consultancy project for Oxford. So this is just my observation, but you may like to comment on this, because I think we need to do a lot of research about how to incorporate end user and involve end user in the design process. And in his award ceremony, this Heather Rizvi said very interesting thing, and he said that I am not the designer of this product. He said that the farmers are the co-designers of this product, and that is something which I like very much, because end user has to be incorporated as a partner in the whole design process, and your mindset also, the designer's mindset also should be something like that. Means my end user is actually my partner in designing this process. This is what I want to say. Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful presentation, Abhiraj. Thank you.
Can I come in, sir? Vijay Kumar here.
Yes,
I completely endorse the views of Mr. Umesh, and as I feel, the starting point for any startup, any product, it has to be the end user or the potential customer. Without his getting the insights what he or she requires, and besides the employees being the assets, it is the customers who become your assets later on. And all your business strategies, innovations, they all bank upon only on your customers. And one happy customer, one just single happy customer can develop the entire market for you, provided he or she is completely satisfied with the product, its usage, its performance, its price. And if that one customer is unhappy, he or she can spoil the entire product, entire market. And one last this thing, if the participants permit me, there's one old cola brand, Nova Cola. Okay, and they ran a campaign. The baseline was never say no to Nova. Never negative, no negative, Nova negative. And they have to phase out that brand from the category, and it is no more available now also. So it is not just technology, it is also the words what you use for your brand, for your product as baselines or punchlines is very important. But this is only my views, and I could remember and recall all this. I'm being a marketing person, so I look in that angle. As he rightly said, technology is always there. People are there to develop your technology. But how you reach to the end user, to the ultimate customer, is all about business. And that is just common sense. Thank you very much.
I think Dr. Dikshit wants to speak. Dr.
Yeah.
Dikshit.
Thank you, Dr. Sujata, and thank you, Dr. Sharma. Today I could actually enjoy the sessions.
Thank you.
Because it is quite vibrant and raised very good discussions also and very good issues also. And it was very well facilitated by the example given by Dr. U.C. Pandey as well as Dr. Radha. What I visualize from here is that there are two prospects. See, we have different kind of innovation methodologies. Like we have Agile also as an innovation methodology. We have a Lean Startup also an innovation methodology. Some start from the planning stage, some start from the ideation stage. But when we talk of design thinking, as correctly mentioned by Dr. Abhilash, it starts from the empathize stage. So basically here, when we say interaction, what it means is that in the empathize stage, what we do is that we observe our end users, our customers. We very carefully observe them. Then we also listen to them. We note down the things. Then, as he mentioned, that personas are created. Sometimes virtual personas are created. Sometimes by keeping a diary or a day-to-day interaction with your so-called end users. Because ultimately, why design thinking? Because it allows you to fail at a very early stage. It allows you to fail at a very early stage. So that at the end, see, because first you develop a prototype, you test it properly. Once that is clear, you also gather kind of end customers at that stage also again. And then you go for a business model canvas and then go for a business plan. And then, marketing strategies and things will fall later. But basic concept of design thinking is to fail early. So at the empathize stage, the core principle is that interact with your end user right from the very beginning. Ideate, then you define a problem based on the local situation which we are facing. I would like to give one example. When this design thinking is not applied, what happened? There was some organization and there was a village where people were falling ill because they were not drinking water. The water which they were drinking was not appropriate, and they were falling sick. So one organization decided, why not we keep a facility center for the villagers to take water from that particular place, and they will charge 10 rupees for 10 liter. So this was a village area, and they established the setup and everything, but they still found that the people are not coming, and they are not at all interesting. They are drinking the other water, but not interested in their the pure water. So then they asked, why you are not coming to take this? So it was found out, number one, that they said that we don't require 10 liter of water per day, and that too we'll pay 10 rupees for it. The second issue was that the male members of that village, they used to go for farming or other purposes. And the female, the road was such that it was not possible for them to carry 10 liter of water every day. Now, had it been a design thinking prospect, then the number one thing which should have been done is that they should have visited that particular village. They should have first observed what are the day-to-day things that they are doing. Then they should have interacted with them and to find out, and also in a way convince them that, hey, you need pure water to drink, otherwise this is the reason why you are falling ill and things like that. And then they try to, from their mouth only, they try to take out, okay, if this is the problem, yeah, this could be the solution. Then they ideate on the problem and then things, and then they develop a prototype and then they test. So basically those villagers will become their end customer ultimately. Maybe they could have found out some other solution, that why not let us also identify other villages which are having the same problem. Is there any other thing which could be done? So basically in design thinking at the empathize stage itself, I mean, this is what design thinking innovation methodology is different from others, is that from the very beginning, our end users are ultimately our customers. So we identify the problems what the end users are facing, we empathize with them, then we define a problem statement, then we ideate upon that problem statement by divergent and convergent thinking, we develop a prototype, and then again it is tested on the end users, whether, as very well said by Vijay Kumar ji, that yes, at the marketing stage also, the brand name and everything, your tagline is very important, and Then gradually, once your prototype is successful and your testing is successful, you have in that way also, accumulated a few of the customers. And then you further go for a business plan or things like that. A business model, first of all, that now what will be your channel, and then who will be your collaborators, and what is your revenue generation models and things like that. So I think today's was a very good discussion, and the points raised by Dr. Vijay Kumar is also something. Yes, we look forward for more such discussions. And Dr. Abhilash, your presentation was in a nutshell, and in such a because design thinking is something is that every phase and every stage takes more than 2 to 3 sessions. Frankly speaking, in fact, sometimes each phase requires a workshop of 2 to 3 days. So, what I could see in your presentation is that you wanted to tell everything in just 30 to 35 minutes. And that's why I could see that you also, you were giving examples, but you were not able to show them because you thought that it will take a lot of time. So this was also a very good methodologies. And yes, certainly we look forward from our other IGNOU faculty members who are interested into innovation, startups, entrepreneurship and design thinking to come up and certainly enlighten us. Thank you so much.
Can I share a word with the NCID team, please?
Thank you, Dr. Jyotsna.
Sure, please.
Can I come in, Vijay Kumar?
Yes, come in.
See, I just wanted to say now this design thinking and all that, that's a very good title or topic, whatever you call. But one has to go category wise. Maybe one session should be on consumer durables. One could be on some other categories so that it would be in more detail and more in depth. And also it will be more relevant in your presentation also, more focused. It could be a service also, a service, a durable of FMCG, any of these category wise, because this has become a completely holistic, like everything comes under the umbrella of this. But if you make it more category wise, I think it would be more interesting, and also it would help all the students. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Vijay Kumarji.
Thank you.
Good suggestions, and we will try to work upon that.
Yeah.
In fact, the purpose of this Facebook Live is to sensitize and make our students aware of the basic concepts of innovation, startup, and development.
Yes.
And apart from this, we are having some focused training sessions also, and that focused training sessions are for a particular group, selected group. Those who are really interested in doing something or are doing something, they want a higher level of orientation or training for them, because just to give them an idea of certain digital marketing.
Right.
That can be a one awareness kind of session. Everybody may be interested in doing that, but how to do that digital marketing in detail if one person is doing his or her startup or entrepreneurship. In that context, I think different kind of treatment would be required. That's why we have made two things separate. Today's program is basically focusing on creating awareness about these basic things and sensitizing, motivating our students. Yes, you come up, world is looking towards you as an entrepreneur or a startup. That is our basic purpose. And in the focus program, we take care of some in-depth studies or topics on these topics. So thank you very much for your suggestions. So Dr. Sujata, it is over to you now.
Yeah, thank you all. So Dr. Sharma, shall we now conclude the session?
If there is no other comment or suggestion, then we can conclude.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Abhilash Nayak for such an interesting presentation. And also, I feel the interactions that happened, all these were really very enlightening. So thank you so much. I also thank all the directors, heads of divisions, regional directors, faculty members, and academics, our colleagues who have joined us for today's session. And I am thankful to Mr. Rajesh Sharma, Head Public Information Unit, IGNOU, for providing the Facebook Live platform and facilitating us in the smooth conduct of this program. Special thanks are due to Dr. O.P. Sharma, Director NCIDE, and my colleague, Dr. Jyotsna Dikshit, for their continued support. And I cannot miss Dr. Momita Das, who has been coordinating this session, but she is not with us today. So I also thank her. And I am also thankful to Mr. Praveen Chauhan for his services in the smooth conduct of this session. And lastly, I thank you all once again for this interactive session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you everybody
Thank you
from
very
my
much,
behalf,
Sujata.
all my academic colleagues, members in the faculty from different schools for being present here and encouraging all of us, NCID and me. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhilash.
you very much.
Congratulations for a good presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much to all of you.